Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast of Faithfully Speaking, where we just kind of continue to take conversations, good, healthy, positive information and conversation, and we talk about them just one-on-one. We share in an uplifting and inspiring way because we know that no matter what it is that's going on, what's happening, what we might be going through, there's always hope. There is always hope, and we love it. We thank God for you. So today we thank God for you being with us today for this awesome podcast. If you've been with us for the last couple of Mondays, you know that this is the month of August and it is Black Business Month. So we've been highlighting, kind of getting you started. For those of you who say, hey, you know what, I've always wanted to start my own business. This is what the vision that maybe God has given you. And sometimes, it just takes having that knowledge and having the wisdom to know how to do so. So these are the people that I wanted to bring on for the month of August, is to help you get started with your business, to know which business best fits you and all sorts of things. So our very first Monday of the month, we talked about how to start that business, which business maybe fits you best with the Tenney Group and Mr. Tenney. Last week, we talked about nonprofits. For those of you who says, hey, you know what, I have a heart for this, ministry or this issue or this topic or this thing in the community, and I want to start a nonprofit to help out those in the community. So we talked to Stacy Carlis, who kind of helps out, and her organization helps out those nonprofits. So, for these past shows, check out the archives of Faithfully Speaking, and you can find out all the information. So today we're going to talk about small businesses because, when we talk locally, that's pretty much what we're talking about. Those of us who want to start our own bookstores, our bakeries, or record shops, or whatever it might be that you want to start. And so, we kind of put them in the label of small businesses. So today we have an awesome woman with a whole bunch of knowledge of exactly how we can get started with our small businesses. Please help us welcome Miss Heather Joi Kenney. How you doing, Heather?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And Faithfully Speaking with me.
Yes. I love it.
So we're going to speak life into these businesses that may be already going on, these small businesses, and then those that may be thinking about starting their own. So I wanted to bring you on to kind of give us some insight of what, you kind of do professionally on a daily basis and your company. So I know that you are with the Gateway Community Development Corporation, and you guys do so many things. Tell us a little bit about the business and what you all do to kind of help out small businesses.
Okay, so the Gateway Community Development Corporation, we're based in Henderson, North Carolina, beautiful Henderson, North Carolina, downtown at 314 South Garnet Street. Gateway CDC has been around since 1979. Wow. It is a nonprofit, and we serve 4 counties. We serve Vance County, Franklin, Granville, and Warren counties. Mm-hmm. And overall, our work is to provide resources that empower, uplift, and educate our community. So we do small business development. We have developed affordable housing over the years, youth development, all the ways in which we can help our community grow and thrive. So that's what Gateway is. We're here as a resource for our community, a gateway to the resources that help uplift and beautify our community. We're building a spirit of community here. That's our thing.
I love it. So are there organizations, I know you say, you're in a specific area to kind of help out those in your area. Are there other organizations like yourself in other cities of people that might be looking on the podcast right now?
Well, we have one great one here, Turning Point CDC, who also does great work in developing in community development. And there's a host of others. I mean, when people hear CDC, they're thinking Centers for Disease Control. But no, ask the question, what does CDC stand for? Community Development Corporations. And there's a lot of them out there. But again, we're a nonprofit. So we do work to help, serve communities in ways that uplift folks. And there's a lot of nonprofits out there doing great work in various communities.
So now you're a nonprofit, but you help out small businesses that are for profit. So tell us, or maybe, kind of give us some advice that you would have for those small businesses trying to get started. And how do you, as a nonprofit, help out for-profit businesses?
So we have a small business development program. We started this particular program in September of 2021. And since that time, we've been working with small businesses and entrepreneurs in-house. So either they come to us and they already have a business that's established and they need help with like marketing and some branding questions they may have, or they're just starting, they have an idea and don't know where to go from there. So I
Mhm.
personally do in-house coaching and development with them to help them define and refine their ideas and just think about all of the things that business owners need to start off with as a foundation. First of all, do you want to do this?
Yes.
Is this just a hobby, or this is something that you honestly want to pursue? I always encourage business owners to think about the fact that as you sit in your 9 to 5 job right now, you're working for a person who was an entrepreneur and a business owner. They had an idea, they started something, and you're working diligently for them, clocking in, clocking out, however it may be. Now you have to do that same thing for yourself. So look at yourself as your own boss. And you're going to have to put in all of the work, all of the effort to build that foundation to something where you can say either I can leave my 9 to 5 or I can go part time, and to really pursue your goals.
So you mentioned some things like branding and marketing. What are some tips? What are some pieces of advice that you could give to those? Like you said, for a small business, even last week, we were talking to Miss Carlos, and she was like, you want to make sure this is something you want to do because you're going to end up spending a lot of time doing it. And a lot of people think, hey, I start my own business. I'll have people that work for me and I can, go off to the beach or vacationing wherever. And that's not quite so. Tell us, how do we get started and the real deal behind it all, Heather?
The real deal, especially if you're just starting out, is that you are going to be putting in a lot of hours these first 2, 3, 4, 5 years to really get your business into a place where you're able to, hire your first employee. And, if we're lucky and blessed that we're able to see profits within our first year, that's great. But you have to be able to sustain those things. And so, as it relates to branding, what I tell people when they come in here, yes, your business has a brand, but you are the one who created this business. This idea came from your mind, your prayers, your thoughts, whatever. But now you're bringing it to life. You are bringing it to life. So, what are your values? What do you want to see? What's going to be your work ethic? What are your customers going to identify with? And a lot of times it's reflective of who you are as a person. So I think if business owners remember that, when we're starting businesses, we're really saying to our public, to our customers, this is my why. This is why I am starting this business. And these are the things that are important to me in business, whether it's through our products, whether it's if we're a coach, maybe it's the way we coach people. If we're a doctor or a lawyer, the ways in which we serve people, whatever that thing is, it starts with you and your core. And it's always going to be that unless you sell your company. But then, long term, you hope it's still identified with your brand, your moral, your values, your ethos, all the things that make you you.
Right. So, what are some of the things that people need to look into, when they first get started to kind of building that business? I know networking is a very important part. What are certain things? I mean, you mentioned. I mean, you see logos. Are those things important? Making sure you have your social media setups and so things such as that. People that are listening right now who say, "I want to get started." What are some of the first steps that I definitely need to do?
I'm so glad you mentioned like the social media. So well, I'm an entrepreneur myself. So whenever I come up with something, my first thing is the name available? So I will do a Google search. I will make sure the website is not taken. So whatever my
Uh-huh.
name is, I'm going to go www dot whatever the business name, or go to GoDaddy or Squarespace, any of these places where you could buy a domain, and make sure that that business name is first of all available. So start there. Then you're going to go to all your social media platforms. Is it available on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of the things that you can think of, LinkedIn, all of the spaces you can think of that you will use for marketing your business? You want to make sure that that name is available. One, you want to be original, you want to be unique, you want to stand out. So you don't want to have a name that everyone else has. But
Right.
if you make sure that you can find that name and it's consistent across platforms, it makes it easier for people to find you and makes your life a whole lot easier, because you aren't just going to use one platform to promote your business. If you're doing it well, you're going to use all of them. YouTube, even. You want to make sure that the name is not taken on YouTube. So that would be my first thing. Yes, logo is important. All those things are important, but before we even get to logo, we have to talk about, well, what's my business name? But then comes the logo. So that's a difficult thing because some people, may not be creative in that space, but there are also all these awesome resources out there where you can create free logos, or hire someone on like Fiverr to do it for you for like $5 to $20. But logo is another thing that you want to look at and see, well, is it an original logo? That's the thing we need to be very careful about when we're using some of these free sites, is the originality of the design. So I would suggest, sketching something, and it could be very rudimentary kindergarten sketches. We have some brilliant kindergarten artists. But do a sketch, and pass it off to a graphic artist, or pass it off to someone on Fiverr and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? You come up with something to get that originality, which I think is so key in, forming your business. Is it unique? Are you going to stand out?
So, how do we get started with, I guess maybe they call it a business plan or a mission statement so that you are not all over the place trying to serve everyone else? Is it important, shall I say, to kind of localize or center who you're trying to get and how you're going to get that group of people in?
Yeah. So when we think about your target market, your target audience, some people, I'm targeting everyone, and
Mhm.
that's probably true of the majority of businesses who provide some type of general service. But you might have a particular customer in mind. Are they mid 40s, female that X amount of dollars per year or live in a certain, area. It could be that, or it could be something else more specific. You know what your product is, who you're trying to attract. Once you identify that person and
Mhm.
or people or geographic area, you're going to ask yourself, well, as I'm creating my mission statement, how is it that I want to serve? How is it that I want to service? Serve in one way and service in another, this customer when they read my mission statement in maybe a sentence or less, does it tell them everything that they need to know about my business? Those are the key questions that you need to ask. And then developing your mission statement is simple. Like I said, a sentence. XYZ business exists to serve the people of Henderson, North Carolina, so that they could get easy access to products and goods necessary for the fulfillment of a happy life. I don't know, something like that. But like people can identify, oh, they sell products that are going to help me with my lifestyle. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and then you have taglines, which might just be like a sentence. We know companies that have their taglines like what's the one the what's the state it's the State Farm or one of them, but they're Jake from State Farm. Like everybody knows Jake
Yes.
from State Farm, and they
Yes.
have a tagline. So like, what is going to be that thing that identifies your business, whether it's a jingle, whether it's a tagline, like how are you going to stand out? And that's one thing I'm working with the entrepreneurs that we work with is like from this branding perspective, let's
Right.
stop thinking like small. Let's think about the fact that this might be a global brand one day. And even if it's not going to be, still think like that. How are we going to stand out? How are we going to work and make ourselves different? Personal branding is also very important.
Like the gecko from Geico. Did I say that right? Gecko, Geico. Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean,
Uh-huh.
they're just out of the ballpark. I mean, there's no safeness. It's like as far as you want to take it to make people remember your business is what they're doing now. And so
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you just said, Heather. It's just got to figure out what will make people stick with your business and remember your business whenever it comes back around.
Don't be afraid to stay in a box. Like forget these boxes. They trap us into these spaces. I always like to. I'm a visual artist, so I always remind myself, like when I'm creating, like there are no rules. There are no rules because
Right.
especially when it comes to creativity, if I'm sticking into these boxes and these rules, I'm going to be just like everyone else. But make it up as you go.
Right.
Sure, nothing new under the sun, but there is always derivatives. So and they can be great.
So we talked to Stacy last week and she talked about nonprofits. And since you own a nonprofit, having
Okay.
a small business, I know with the nonprofit, we mentioned something about you having to have a board or a group of people that you have to, with your own small business, is that so as well? Or is that something that you should consider or what?
No, typically, with if you have an LLC, maybe you're a single member LLC, you talking to yourself, or
Uh-huh.
maybe there's other members of the LLC who also have, an interest in the business that you're also working with. But typically, we see boards when it comes to like corporations, corporate boards, these, huge Fortune 500 companies, and when you get that large, it is helpful to have a board of advisors, your corporate board, because they can make some of the larger decisions. And in corporations, of course, you're bringing in shareholders. You got to account for, what they may think and feel about what you're doing. But for your average, small business entrepreneur, you're not going to have a board. But I do suggest that you create a board of advisors. And they're not necessarily people who are going to be making day-to-day decisions for you, but they might be, experts in your industry, somebody from your community that might have a little bit more knowledge or a little bit more access to things you might not have access to that will be beneficial to the growth and stability of your business. So I do encourage people to find that board of advisors or mentors uh,
Right.
in the small business space.
That's good advice. Very good advice. So let's talk about businesses and small businesses and how they impact your community. I know you're there and you service, your community. So you firsthand see how these local and small businesses kind of, benefit the community in general. And a lot of people think, hey, I'm going to do a small business. How do I compete with these larger ones on, a scale where I can still benefit and make a profit?
Yeah. So the majority of the businesses and, globally, are small businesses. They're your
Mhm.
mom and pop, 1 to 15 employee type businesses. They are the backbone of our economy. And I think if we start looking at that fact that small businesses make up economic development for our cities, our counties, our states, the United States, just globally. So looking at small businesses as a backbone and realizing that most of them are small. And yes, you do have large competitors, come in. You have your Walmarts and your Food Lions and all these huge, huge grocers, etc. But I think, especially, you need to be thinking about, well, what are they missing? What is it that these large, big box places are missing? And a lot of times, it's customer service.
Mhm.
It's that thank you. It's that friendly person who's checking you out or helping you around your boutique or your small coffee shop, making you feel like you are valued. Like when you come in here and you spend your money, like it means a lot to me that you come in here and you spend that money with us because that's what helps us grow and thrive. So I think that's what, businesses need to be focusing on, the fact that customer service is so, so key. And as long as you can keep a customer happy and talking about you and suggesting folks to go see them instead of going down here, then that's what really counts.
Absolutely. That whole connection, that
Yeah.
personal that personability. So are there any assistance, any programs to kind of help out local businesses to get started? And with your business that you work for, the Gateway Community Development Corporation, do you guys kind of look into these and show small businesses how to get started and where maybe they can get some assistance to get started?
Yeah. So, well, one Gateway, yes, we work locally with our community and other counties that we serve. But I think just generally, since this is a North Carolina audience, and generally anyone, wherever you
Mhm.
are, what I have found is that your Secretary of State is a valuable resource, especially now they're doing more to educate people who are interested in starting businesses. Specifically on the North Carolina Secretary of State website, they have a program called NC Rural Rise, and it should be on their homepage. But if you click on that link, they have a drop down box that you could just look at all counties. You can look at your county specifically, and it will list the resources that are available in your county. Gateway is one of those resources that's advanced Granville Warren County, but there's so many resources out there. Your local community college,
Right.
Granville Community College with us, but there are so many community colleges, around the state. I would suggest people to look at SCORE. It is a national organization, and they have webinars all over, but you can
Mhm.
watch them and they're free. There's so many in the SBA, there's so many free resources out there. So we are here trying to build an ecosystem where if people call us, or even if you're not in our service county, if you call and say, hey, do you know of a resource with X, Y, and Z, we're going to do our best to point you to an ecosystem resource partner or just a resource in the ecosystem that might help you get lots of free resources out there.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit more about your uh, the Gateway Corporation and what services you all provide there. Like you said, we can call you if we need to find, and you'll help us find other places if we're not in your area. But what exactly do you do as far as around the community there in Henderson and helping out the small businesses?
Okay, so in-house, I coach small businesses. So these are typically the ones, like I said, that they're starting out. But if they are at a point where they need help with marketing and branding, or maybe like credit repair, credit building for businesses, and
Mhm.
storytelling, like figuring out what their thing is, and also business plan development, I will refer them out to our resource partners. So we have resource partners that work with us in each one of those areas to help our entrepreneurs get where they need to be. And those are services that we are able to provide because of grants that we have received and funding that we are continually attracting our way so that we can take that burden off of small business owners when it comes to, well, I can't pay for marketing or I can't pay for business plan development. We are there as a resource for that. But beyond that, we are continually identifying opportunities where small business owners can be highlighted. So we recently did a program called Way to Grow. Grow in all capitals with an exclamation point. It's like a cheer. Way to grow. You know, I love cheerleading.
I like that, Heather.
Way to grow. So just cheering on our businesses, but at the same time, providing them with the resources that they need, whether it's knowledge. And we were blessed to have some funding to give $50,000 in funding. We were able to give away to some local small businesses. We had a festival where vending was free. So you didn't have to overcome that vendor hurdle to see your product. But also giving you the opportunity to be exposed to your community, to let your community know, hey, I'm here. It was downtown. We have downtown businesses. So that was another opportunity. I think it's so key that, especially in rural communities, small towns like Henderson, North Carolina, that our city centers thrive and grow and are looked at a place as, culture, entertainment, commerce, all three coming together. It's very important.
Well, wonderful. Sounds great. And you've given us so much information as far as how to get our small businesses started, where we can go. Can you provide us with maybe just some resources, the websites, or where we can get in contact with you? And throughout this entire conversation, you've been giving us some places and different things to kind of look up and Google on our own. And sometimes, y'all, that's what we have to do. If you want to start your own business, you got to do your own homework. Providing you a little overlay right here with somebody with some, with a plethora of information to kind of get you started. But are there any other websites that you would like to share with us, Heather?
So I just want to give you Gateway's website, thegatewaycdc.org. There you will find small business resources. On there, you can schedule a consultation with myself. You can fill out the small business participant form. And our phone number is there, 252-492-6298. Give us a call. We would love to help you no matter where you are. We would love to help you and point you to some of these resources. So if we start from there, and then the North Carolina Secretary of State website, if you just Google North Carolina Secretary of State, it will come right up for you. Click on it and you'll find Rural Rise NC, a plethora of resources. And a lot of the ones that I name. Rural, like rural community, Rise NC is the name of the program. And so we're members of that program. So you'll see us listed, first if you look at Vance County or some of the resources. But a lot of us out there, doing this work, trying to support entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And in this month of August, Black Business Month, we need to support one another, and we need to know where we are so that we can go and support one another in our specific, counties and states, so that we can thrive one with another. Heather, thank you so very much. As a coach for small businesses, before we get out of here, is there anything else that you would like to, hurrah us with as we start our small businesses?
I would say just start. Don't be afraid. You can do it. There are resources out there that you can use on your own. They're free, they're easy, but also there are people like Gateway and myself who are here to help you along the way. So start, remember your personal brand, remember who you are, remember your why, and it will make a lot of those hard days easier.
Absolutely. And that way we continue to have fun in doing what we love to do. Yes, Heather, thank you so very much for, I feel like I had a cheerleader on here with us. You're like, I'm a coach, and then you start doing it. I'm like, yes, we can do it.
Yes.
Start that business today, y'all. Heather Joi Kenney is an awesome woman of God, and she has just truly spoken to our lives and to our businesses. So if this is something that you've already started, you want to know how to go to the next level, look her up, look them up, find out the information you need. And we speak into the atmosphere right now that, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's on the way. Amen.
We claim it. Amen.
Yes, we do. Heather, again, thank you so very much for joining us for Faithfully Speaking. We thank you for wrapping up our Black Business Month podcast this month.
It's an honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, y'all. Until next time, we will see you right here, 3 o'clock every Monday afternoon, as we just talk together, just encouraging and inspiring one another through Faithfully Speaking. God bless you. I love you. Great.